Do we have all the members in now?
We are 14. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Secretary.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairman. Good afternoon, Secretary.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Secretary, do you have a quorum now?
Yes,
Are all members in?
Fine. Yes, we do.
Admin, can we proceed now? I just want to be sure that. Group admin, is it okay? Because there's supposed to be 14 members, but we're only 11. That's why I just want to be sure.
I think we can travel.
Okay. Can the company secretary please confirm that we have a quorum so we can call this meeting to order? Good afternoon, directors.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, our chairman, and we are all welcome to our board meeting. We are actually 14 members, and right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. We are 8. Please, the group
Exactly.
admin, I'm sure it's not.
That's why I was saying that I don't think we have.
We are 14 and we
No,
are
it shows we have 11 participants, not 8.
You are.
We have
Madam
11.
Chairman, you are 2. I've seen you for Lashade 2 places.
Oh, really? Oh, that's the okay.
Yes, and the group admin. So I excluded you
Okay.
and the group admin. So we are 8.
We need the group admin to look into this so we can start. We really don't have much time. The group admin is not responding. I think we've been told to start, so we're going to just start. If others have not joined, I'll just pull up the agenda for the meeting. So, good afternoon, ladies and directors of Astute Beverage PLC. I welcome you to the 40th Board of Directors meeting taking place today, the 22nd of June, 2024. Before we proceed with today's agenda, can we please start with an opening prayer? I'd like to call on Magaji to please start us with an opening prayer, just a brief one. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Madam Secretary, and good afternoon, fellow directors. Please let us pray by taking the second stanza of our former national anthem.
We don't have time.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
We pray God declare this meeting open. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I'd like to just confirm formally from the company secretary that we do have a quorum.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. The meeting is hereby declared open. I welcome you once again to the 40th Board of Directors meeting for Astute Beverage PLC. Do you have any apologies today, please?
No, there is no apology, ma'am.
No apologies. Okay, thank you. I do believe we have the notice for today's meeting.
Please,
Can we all
for
confirm
the
that we have the
agenda.
notice and the agenda for today's meeting?
Yes.
Yes, we
Yes.
do.
Thank you, directors. Can we please, are there any amendments you would like to make to this agenda before we proceed? In the absence of no comments or agenda, can we adopt the agenda for today's, as the agenda for today's meeting? May I have a motion moved for adoption of the agenda?
Yes.
Can I have a motion? Who is moving the motion, please? Can you properly move the motion to adopt the agenda for today's meeting? May I know the name of the person that's moving?
I, Adenike Nwokocha, move for the adoption of the minutes of the meeting. Thank you.
The notice, thank you. And this will be seconded by who?
Naomi. My name is Naomi Ayaba.
Okay, and you heard by? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for adopting the agenda. Now that we have adopted the agenda, that is item 2 on your agenda. We've already dealt with the welcome, no apologies. Now, can we just go to item 3 on our agenda, which is adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting that was held. Please, could you mute your phone? Who is Tola, Dr. Tola? Could you please mute, please? Can we have
Group admin, can you mute her?
Thank you very much. Okay, now we're on agenda item 3, adoption of the minutes of the previous meeting. I guess the minutes were circulated to everyone. Are there any comments to the minutes of the last meeting held in January 2024? Thank you, and I appreciate all the comments that were previously sent into the company secretary, which really is the way to go. And that's why this is swift. So thank you that you all sent in your comments, directors, to the company secretary. So in the absence of comments or amendments to the minutes that was properly written by the company secretary, I commend you for that good work. May I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the last meeting held in January 2024? May I have a motion to adopt the minutes of the last meeting?
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Chinye Ogo. I move to adopt the minutes of the last meeting.
Thank you very much, Chinye. May I have a motion to second the minutes, please?
Funlayo Falola here, seconding the motion to adopt the minutes of the previous meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there matters arising from the minutes of last meeting held? Matters arising, Company Secretary?
No, Madam Chairman, there is nothing. Everything was correct. There is nothing.
I guess most of those matters are going to be dealt with in the reports. So it will be better for us to deal with those matters that are arising from the presentation of the reports, which will be presented soon. So thank you. In the absence of matters arising from the previous meeting, we'll now move to item 5. Item 5 is presentation of the first quarter 2024 management report by the Managing Director, CEO of our company, Astute Beverage PLC. Is the CEO here to present her report?
Good afternoon, Ma. Yes,
Good afternoon.
I am here, but you know, the report was presented last meeting, and we were, the board and was not happy with their performance. So we decided we'll meet today to discuss the way forward with the arrangement with JanBev breweries in Ghana. So that is the presentation I have prepared.
You don't have anything you want to add, like a background?
Yes, it is all in my report.
So we should take the report as presented.
No, I can start the presentation.
I think it would be better to remind some of the directors as to the issues that we're really discussing. What are the options? If you can go into some detail, that would be helpful as a reminder to every director, since it's few months ago that we had this meeting.
Okay.
Or what would other directors, what's your view? May I have comments from other directors?
I think a background would suffice.
Yes, that works. I believe so too.
Okay, may I have your video on, please, Dr. Elatui? Thank you very much. Can we proceed, please, Margaret?
Okay.
I'm sorry, CEO.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much.
Let me see if I can share my screen.
Thank you.
So, as we all know,
yeah, thank you.
Yes, as we all know, based on the meeting we had last time, we've been having challenges with our arrangement with JanBev breweries in Ghana, whereby we arranged to use their distribution channels to market our products and to grow our market share in Ghana, and we were supposed to reciprocate the same for them in Nigeria. Unfortunately, that arrangement has not worked as planned, and that was shown in our Q1 figures, where we performed below forecast. In addition to that, we know that the economic environment has been very, very challenging in both Nigeria and Ghana, West Africa as a whole. The market size, though large and growing in both markets, is challenged due to high inflation rates, erosion of disposable income, currency depreciation most especially in Nigeria. Ghana's economy seems to be on the mend. Their inflation rates has stabilized at about 25%, while Nigeria's is still growing. And so this has seriously affected our markets, and coupled with the with the deterioration in our relationship with JanBev, we have decided to come today to examine our strategic options and to ask this board to recommend a way forward for us. So I don't know if anybody has any questions or would still like me to shed more light on the JanBev situation. If not, I'm happy to proceed.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to proceed with what, CEO, please.
Okay.
No, I said you're happy to proceed with what? I just wanted to clarify.
To discuss the options we outlined in the last minutes that we will be looking at. Okay,
first of all, are there comments from members to deliberate, or we should just listen to the options so we can deliberate on the options? We all know the problem that we're facing with Astute and JanBev. So members of the board, any comments to what the CEO has presented thus far? May I invite comments from the board members, please?
Madam Chair, no comments so far. I'm happy to hear what to take the rest of the report from the CEO, Chinye Ogwa.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Director. Can we just hear the options, and so we can now start the proper deliberation?
Okay, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
So we are looking at 3 strategic options for addressing the challenges with the JAN-BEV relationship. One is to continue the JAN-BEV relationship, but to add new measures and new parameters to the relationship. 2 is to disengage from JAN-BEV and run our Ghanaian operations directly. And 3rd is to acquire the third. So in Ghana, JAN-BEV is the market leader, followed by us, Astute Beverages, and then there's the 3rd player. So the 3rd option is for us to acquire the 3rd player in the Ghanaian market. So my team and I, we have prepared a SWOT analysis for each option. So for option 1, to continue with JAN-BEV, we've done the SWOT analysis. The strengths will be that we're partnering with the market leader, which gives us access to a large distribution network. The weaknesses we've identified are currently the relationship is not working, and there has been a breakdown of trust between JAN-BEV and Astute Beverages. The opportunities we have identified is that Ghana, partnering with JAN-BEV provides us access to a large and growing market, which also presents a gateway to the rest of the West African markets. Threats that we have identified in the environment: currency fluctuations, high inflation, erosion of disposable income, which will be affecting our operations and our prospects in the Ghanaian market. For the second option, to run the Ghana operations directly, we've identified the strengths as it will give us more control over distribution. It presents significant growth opportunities, but the weakness is that it will require a high capital investment and we'll need to grow our distribution network from scratch. The opportunities are, in the long term, we do have the prospects of becoming the market leader, but the threats are high competition from local players and other macroeconomic threats. The third option, to acquire a third-place Ghanaian company, the strengths are, it gives us automatic acquisition of a local distribution network. It will also propel us to almost automatically to the top of the market. The weaknesses are it requires a high capital investment. It will cost us a lot of money to acquire another company, and it will require some corporate restructuring. Opportunities are that we will be easily positioned to expand into other West African markets. And the threats are, in addition to the macroeconomic threats, we also have culture dilution of Astute Beverages. So these are the options and the analysis that my team have worked on. So I will, Madam Chair, I believe maybe we can open the floor for comments and questions.
Thank you very much, CEO, for the extensive and well-researched reports about the options that we have available to us. May I, at this junction, invite comments from members of the board? As you know, we still have to look at other presentations, so may I invite comments at this point?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. Funlayo speaking here. From the marketing point of view, as discussed with the CEO, the option 1 seems to be the most preferred, given that we already have some leverage, and JAN-BEV is a large...
Can you off your screen? Sorry, please.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. And JAN-BEV is a market leader. The implications of going with the other options would be that we would have to put a high capital in our business. And right now, we do have to consider the macroeconomic factors, both in Nigeria and in Ghana. So from a marketing point of view, if we can work out the new measures and deal with the relationship issues, we should be able to normalize our position with a view of looking at increasing in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. May I have other comments from members of the board, please?
Good evening, Madam Chairman. My name is Bingwe Olufemi. I do like the idea of us working on the relationship with JanBev, because that would probably be the most cost-effective option. But in the event that that is not a viable option, my question is, what is the cost benefit of the other two? Both of them are going to be capital intensive, but when we weigh them against each other, which of those would be a viable option for us, so that we can look at that option against the pairs of the relationship of option one? Question. Thank you very much.
So is that question directed at the CEO, that they should have presented more, given us more details?
Yes, that's what I was saying. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. So, from the marketing, as an independent board, I have a few comments, which are basically, I'm aligned with the marketing proposition. I'm also aligned with the last speaker. My concern is the fact that there will always be currency fluctuation, yeah? You know, in all of the options that's coming in, and, you know, I would just like to know, it would be nice for us to have a wedge or something that can help us to currency fluctuation as much as all the options. We need to put that as the back burner, so that is something we need to, you know, put take a second look in terms of the currency fluctuation. How do we continue to edge it with all of the options that we're considered? Thank you.
I think thank you very much for that comment. When you're talking about edging, what exactly do you mean, and what do you suggest that the CEO does? Your suggestion is not very clear.
Yes, so one of the suggestions I had in mind, I thought it was going to be open for deliberation, but one of the suggestions I had in mind is the fact that we can ensure that we have a buffer on top of our costing that allows us to be able to manage the fluctuations, so that we're not met in a situation where the fluctuation happens and where our gross margins are dipping or we're running at a loss. So the buffer needs to be built on the costing that we're doing. So when we look at our P&L, that buffer of currency fluctuation needs to be built in. Whether it's going to be built into the cost of goods, whether it's going to be built into the operations, and either ways, wherever we want to build it in, that buffer needs to come in to be able to edge currency fluctuations for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The comments from Eniola.
All right, thank you, and good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for the presentation, Madam CEO. I think, you know, it would have helped if we had a bit more substance, maybe after some deliberation with your finance and strategy team. And it would have been nice to see currently what the numbers look like from Ghana, and, you know, compare it to what it looks like in Nigeria. So we actually know that the issue is coming from a dip in sales from Ghana. In determining which one of the options we should go with, I think we need to look at the long-term strategic plan for our company. You know, are we really looking to be a market leader across Africa, or this is just an opportunistic scenario where we know that, you know, there's an Ghana's market and the Ghana's market and increase in demand for beer is going on an upward trend, and we just want to capitalize on this to create a presence in Ghana? If that's the scenario, then I think option one works, because it comes with less costs, but helps us, you know, create a presence in that market. Otherwise, if our long-term goal and focus is to create a strategic footprint in Africa, and Ghana might be used potentially as a hub, then I think that, you know, creating a presence there either by a greenfield project or an acquisition would work. So I think we still need to have some deliberation with our parent company to decide what the long-term goals are for us locally and also for our parent company offshore. Do they really want to, create a presence across Africa? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Enima, for that contribution and suggestion as to what the CEO needs to still look into. I see also that Endura would like to make some comments. May we hear from you at this point?
Okay, thank you so much, Madam
Can you
Chairman.
please put on your video?
My video is on a second device. If you don't mind, it's actually on, but
we can't see your face.
Okay, so let me just do this. Okay.
Yeah. You can proceed, Endura, please. You can proceed with the comments.
She's speaking, but we can't hear her. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, please go ahead.
Right, thank you.
Before. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. I have two questions. Okay, I have two questions, ma'am.
Please proceed with your comments.
Okay. Just confirm that this is better.
It is better. We can hear you.
Good sound, but is this okay?
It is okay.
All right, ma'am. Okay, so all right. So for option one, I was thinking about if the CEO had
you know what? Just put on your video.
You can put possible policy changes. Our plan for option one, if that has been considered as a possible threat. Can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead. Yes, you can.
All right, thanks. So I was going to ask the CEO if the possibility of policy changes now or sometime in the future if policies that could come in point in time that could improve that. Number option 3, if we had them they are coming into the market, other international players could also such that the competition and play commerce. Free sort of things that we have seen in the market or and if that there is a possibility of a replication here in Ghana, and part of it has the influx of other international players that could come and make the market or the competition a bit more stiffer than we had anticipated, because once there is profitability, there is prospectivity, you would expect that more players will come into the market. So what is going are we that give us the
and thank you for those two. Yeah.
Thank you.
May we comment? Coach, please. Presentation by the CEO.
Apologies, I didn't know I was muted. Good day and good board. I was saying that okay. So I wanted to, as the chair of the finance committee, for the board, some of the points raised by the CEO and some of the factors guiding some of these decisions that are being. We do know that
Sorry,
the
Madam
expanding
Financial
opportunity.
Secretary, can I just ask, were you planning a presentation immediately after the CEOs? This is your presentation. I just want to understand.
Well, my points highlighted, but in sync with the CEOs as well, suggestions, yes.
Please proceed.
I want to further address.
I think you can go ahead and suggest that since you still have a presentation to give immediately after. But we're mindful of time, so you can write both together.
Okay, so fine. Let me just quickly run
through ahead with it.
Some of the issues that we're seeing and guiding some of the decisions that we're trying to make it. We see that in Nigeria, I hope my video doesn't go off for my screen. There's a growing market opportunity. The forecast is we're expected to reach the market in Nigeria, expected to reach about 6.2 billion by 2025. And compared to the Ghana growth market, we expect Nigeria should do when preferences regular preferences shifting towards less as craft beers, same premiumizations with consumer focusing more on quality over quantity. In terms of the market, we see increased activity of small pen and breweries as well. And we believe also if we take advantage of what in Ghana and the market trends in Ghana as well, we can begin to changes in terms of our cost profile. First, we believe that we can go back and review the agreements that we have ongoing and look at the loopholes in terms of clauses in the agreement that allows breaches to the agreement. And we can go back and redo that and get a better return on that we have. In terms of SWOT analysis, we believe that we have a strong brand presence and loyalty in Nigeria, vast product portfolio with potential for premium and craft beers. We believe that majority holding of BevCo provides support to the company as well. So for opportunities, we see growing the market for low and non-alcoholic beers. So that's an area we believe that if we diversify to retaining our current structure, we might begin to get additional leverage as well. We believe that also in terms of, I would try to ask the question that one of the board members raised in terms of interest, exchange rate fluctuations. With that, our thought is that we could, in addition to all the other things that we want to do, look at local production so that we reduce our dependence on importation. What we see in the trend, both in Nigeria and in Ghana, we see we see exchange rate fluctuation high, impacting on our balance sheet, impacting on our bottom lines, and of course, impacting on prices. So we believe that if we reduce our import dependence and manufacture some of these products locally, especially with this new line that we're talking about, we believe that we can capture an additional market in for the company as well. We also, that's in terms of number one, expand our product portfolio. Number two, we also believe that we can partner with the government. There's a government scheme, the 1D, 1F program in Ghana, can partner to benefit from the infrastructure movements and incentive that we're making available for us as well. We can also work on our operational efficiency so that we can put in some more costs, some operational efficiencies to ensure that we continue to maintain our profit margins. These are some of the things we hope to do if we retain option 1 as well. Strategic acquisitions and partnerships. We can look at other acquisitions, other partnerships that can strengthen our market presence and capabilities, especially where we have high growth potentials, like in Nigeria and in some other parts of Ghana as well. We also believe that maintaining a strong balance sheet with prudent debt management is very important, and we hope to continue to do that as well. We believe that overall, we can capitalize on the growth opportunities in the Nigerian and the Ghana market, adopting changing consumer preferences and enhancing our operational efficiencies. We can begin to see immediate results. Also understand, and we have listened and heard from the board members, that option 2 and option 3 might also be cost intensive in terms of changing the whole structure and take these present measures. Then in the short run, we believe that we can see immediate results, and then we come back to the board at the end of the next quarter, and we're able to make a strategic decision if the results are yielding, or whether we would need to take a different position as an organization. I'll rest, my chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Financial Secretary. And so basically, I mean, I like the options you've enumerated. You've stated quite a few measures that you think we can put in place. But I have a question for you. But I think we'll wait to hear from I think there's just one more contribution, because I'm mindful of time before we now all deliberate. I mean, it seems like most people prefer option 1 from the comments we've heard thus far. But let's wait for Chineye before we now go round and discuss it. What I've seen is most people are making presentation options that you think, measures you think we can put in place. Which one should we need to make sure? Thank you. So, Chineye, I think that's the last comment.
Yes, thank you.
Right.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, for the opportunity. I want to start first by thanking the CEO and the executive management team for the presentation and sharing the options with us. What I have for you are actually questions. So my first question, and I think that it also borders on something that's also been asked by my colleague here, that's Eniola Oyekons, and I think that even before we go ahead to say that this is the option that we want, we need to get down to the very purpose of the organization. Why was Astute Beverages set up? What is the vision and what is the mission? Are we saying that we want to be a Pan-African company? Do we want to be a West African player? Do we want to be a Nigerian player? I think that if we go down to the very why, the essence, that will then help us to understand what we should do next, regardless of, I don't want to say regardless of cost, but cost, thinking about our presence, our brand, and everything. So we need to go back to the why. And as Eniola has put it, what is our long-term strategic plan for the company? The second thing, and I know, Madam Chair, you talked about, people preferring option 1. Like my colleague Bimpe said, I would have loved to see a breakdown in terms of what the cost for the different options are, because I will say to us that we shouldn't sweep all these other options under the carpet. And why do I say this? Astute used to be in Ghana, the second largest market holder.
Yes.
So my question is that why did we feel the need to have this agreement with Jambez in the first place? Those numbers are not there for us to see, and we're not sure why the shareholders agreed to that in the first place. But if we were the second largest player in the first place, the question is, did we need Jambev in the first place? And Jambev wasn't doing so well in Nigeria. Therefore, we're not necessarily comparing apples and apples. We were doing better in Ghana. We may not necessarily have needed them. Now, if we do decide to go ahead with option 1, what I would like us to, in terms of what are the changes that we want to make in terms of, what are the strategic options available to us? I think that it would be very, very tough for us to think that a competition will sell our products. So what we want to think about is, can we think of non-competing products that we can then partner with JAMBEV if we decide to partner with JAMBEV? Non-competing products, and even additionally, not just non-competing, but also complementary. So to just think off the top of my head, say JAMBEV distributes for you, is selling beer, but they're distributing for you water or something that's non-alcoholic. And so those are the sorts of, we need to think about saying that we don't need to throw away these three options. I think that we need to think about them a bit more deeply in terms of what, first, the company's purpose and vision and the strategic intentions, what the costs are and what these are, and thinking about our competition. Can we get into that do not necessarily cause friction in terms of competition, but are complementary. So those would be my suggestions for the executive management at this point. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much for those contributions. We just have one more. I just realized we had one more comment. She's gone off again. There was Aiba Naomi.
Who hand is up?
Yeah, I saw one. Yeah, I think that's her. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Just one more comment from where is she? Olufunke. Olutuke.
Olutuke.
Please, if you can give us your comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I would like to thank you, ma. I would like to commend the Madam CEO on our presentation, and I want to follow up where, because I also picked up chairman is that most people are interested in option one. But first, my question is, from the report we got, we've been doing that for 6 years. And usually, when there's a problem, before one looks for where else should we go to, one should take time to look back. What went wrong? What didn't we do? And there was a comment there as well that suggested that they apparently had the same issue we were having with them, us in Ghana. So we need to know exactly what went wrong so that we can correct it, learn from it, and then build on it. Again, like was said, it will be tough for anybody to market a product that is in direct competition with our own main products. So it's, if possible, like was suggested by Chinyere, if you can get a complementary product to work with, to market for JAMBEV, it would be a very good option to look into. And then for the corporate governance side of it, we might also need to do a bit more work to break it down in terms of cultural differences in the Nigerian context versus the Ghanaian culture. And then think better along the line. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. I believe we've exhausted all. I keep seeing her come out. It shall not be the secretary.
Madam Chairman, please who?
Yes.
So,
You was
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Miss Naomi. Comments are quite interesting, and a lot of my colleagues have spoken about the option one.
Your video, please.
Okay, ma.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. In business, there's need for consistency and persistence, and also planning. There should be a lot of money to be able to enhance strength in the market, and also we also have to have adopt news and branding If we step out because of the competition in the market, it becomes a setback. So I would suggest that for bringing in another option to the product, it will help for the company to move on. So I think the idea of the option one is not bad. We have to work on getting more strategy, do more planning, and also introduce new products. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I believe that we've listened to all the comments and received all comments from members of the board regarding the problem that our company, Astute Beverage PLC, is facing. We have options stated by the CEO and giving us the options that the company should look into. The SWOT analyses are quite clear in terms of the weaknesses and the strengths of each one. Having listened to the board members, I would like, it seems that there's still a need for more information to be able to really make an informed decision. What I wanted to ask is, and I'd like to the CEO, first of all, to please explain to us, based on comments that we've received, did you really look at, is the CEO still here? Can't see the CEO anymore.
I'm here, ma.
Where's our CEO?
She's
The
here.
CEO. Okay, thank you very much. Their comments, the question is, when we, as the company, we decided to go to Ghana, and we've been there for a while, and things are not going well. From your presentation, it is definitely clear that you don't think it's the COVID-19 pandemic that really caused the, at the end of the day, we're here to make profit. The income of the company, the revenue has gone down. And the budget and the target that was set for the management. And you've told, your presentation shows that you do not think it's the COVID that caused it, but really at the end of the day, it's the performance of the Ghanaian market that is affecting us. But some members of the board are also of the view at the same time that apart from the performance of the Ghanaian market, I think that we in Nigeria need to really look inwards and see how we can improve on our market. So what, in your view, do you think needs to be done from your presentation in terms of providing more information to members of the board? A few members, I believe, Bimpe, wanted more information from us in terms of benefits and requested that we needed to have looked into some more options. And one or two other members, as Chinyere, also found that the information that was provided is not sufficient for us to be able to make, and it would be like to be a meeting in 3 months' time. So in the event that we need more information, maybe the committee might have to meet and in the next 2 weeks and provide this. So the question to Astrid and to analysis that needed to have been done. You didn't provide us with information regarding we needed more information about the revenue that you expected from Ghana, where they are and what you think should have been. Why exactly do you think the performance went down apart from the competitive aspect? I also hear, and that is why I need us to if we're being told that we should not import, Ghana is not in Nigeria. So I hear 1 or 2 directors saying that we need to stop importation. If we've moved to Ghana, it's because obviously Nigeria, we thought that, and of staying in Africa, we wanted to really become Pan-African organization. What really is the vision of Astute Beverage PLC. I would like the CEO to please give us some more background information on this before we proceed with more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and thank you, board members. Your comments and your questions have been very, very insightful and have given us a food for thought. On the financials, the Finance Committee has prepared some of the financial projections and some of the financial results to share with us. I don't know if we'll have time to take their presentation today, but if not, that information will be circulated to all board members.
May I at this stage, if you don't mind, because that is very important. If the financial, because I see that that is the next item, it might be wise that we quickly take this presentation, the finance, yes, so that we can, maybe you make your comments and immediately after the finance director to please quickly present the financials to us. That would be helpful.
Okay.
So, Madam CEO, just conclude with your comments.
Okay, so I'll be very brief. So we expected a 50% growth in revenue from the Ghanaian market, resulting from our partnership with JanBev. Unfortunately, we were only able to achieve a 10% growth. Now, the reason why we decided to partner with JanBev, and as Madam Chair mentioned, we were already the second largest player in the market. But we saw Ghana as a growth opportunity. We saw it as an opportunity to hedge against the risks in the Nigerian market, and was also in line with our vision and strategy given to us by our parent company to become Pan-African and to take advantage of the African Free Trade Agreement, which is being ratified by various African countries and being promoted by the African Union. So this is why we decided to expand into Ghana, which is supposed to be the first point in our continental-wide expansion. But this is why we're doing that. Also, on the strategic options, Madam Chair and Madam Olutuke have currently pointed out that partnering with a competition is quite challenging, even though, yes, due to various operational difficulties and challenges in Nigeria, we also fell short of the mark a few times on the relationship. But the truth of the matter is we are eroding our market share here in Nigeria and asking JanBev to erode their own market share in Ghana for us. This relationship does not appear to be a win-win relationship for the two parties involved. As the second largest player in the Ghanaian market, we already do have considerable footprints in the country, which we can decide to grow upon, and which it might take us medium to the long term to get us to where we want to go. However, acquiring the third largest player gives us, automatic the top of the market, will already provide us the network we are looking to in Ghana, and will also provide a springboard for expansion into other West African countries. The strategy committee the marketing committee will also have more information on this. I have just come to give a brief overview.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, CEO. So it looks like, in a nutshell, can you just tell us which option you are commenting from what you just said? Just one.
I'm recommending option 3. The third player.
Thank you very much. So we'll quickly hear from a presentation. So let's just quickly move to item 5 on our agenda, which is the vision of the Finance and Strategy Report. I think we have 10 more minutes before we go to question and answer time. If I'm right, admin, please could you come on? How many minutes do we have left? Company secretary is confirmed. Do you know when we started?
Oh, I didn't check the time, sorry.
I believe it was about...
Group admin is here, so I thought...
Okay.
I think she will answer my message.
Okay, I understand that we have be rounding up in a few minutes. In the absence of, so I think we should formally close the board meeting. So thank you, directors, for the invaluable contributions you've made to the presentation by the CEO. It's clear that would still require some information before we can actually make a decision. My recommendation would be and the finance should circulate the reports of the finance and strategy committee and the further information that we required from the CEO to enable board directors to make an informed decision. And the committee would make a recommendation to the board, the chairman, and the chairman, and we would have an emergency meeting if there will be a need within the next 2 weeks. Can CEO confirm when exactly they think the reports could be circulated to us?
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll circulate the report by this time next week.
7 days is a long time from now. Can you do this in the next 48 hours since you already have it?
Okay, I believe so.
Thank you very much, CEO. In the absence of any other, I think it will be any other business to discuss today. No other business. Thank you very much. In the absence of any, since there are no other business to discuss, can we to adjourn and to close today's board meeting? May I invite one of the members to move a motion? Yes, please. Can you speak, please?
Yes,
what are you doing, please?
Moving the motion.
To do what?
To close the meeting.
Thank you very much. May I have someone second that motion, please?
I second.
May I have a motion?
Second, yes.
On the motion to do what?
To close the meeting, ma'am.
Thank you very much. And may I have a closing prayer by one of the directors?
Sure, I'll take the closing prayer.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Our Father and our God, we thank you for the opportunity to gather today. Thank you for everything that we've brought to the table. And we ask, oh Lord God, to order our paths, our thoughts, oh Lord God Jesus, that we will make the right decisions in the name of Jesus. We ask, oh Lord God, that whatever it is that you propose for us to do, that Father, in the name of Jesus, we'll make the right decision. So Father, we just say thank you. Thank you for your goodness and your faithfulness. And as everyone goes about their day today, we just ask for your protection and your guidance. In Jesus' name,
thank
amen.
You. A meeting is formally closed and is adjourned to the company secretary will circulate the date for the next board meeting. Normally it should be in 3 months' time, as we have said. We'll probably be having an emergency meeting, and that will be circulated to you by the board, by the company secretary. Thank you all, and thank you for your contributions to today's meeting. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
So
thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
So we finished the board meeting formally. It's closed. Now it's question and answer. I would like to, the essence of the question and answer is for you to ask questions and for me to give you feedback. So I'll go first, and just quickly, I won't spend too much time because I think it's more feedback. I think my first comment is that you all did very well in terms of interaction, in terms of your engaging and speaking clearly, that others could hear you. The presentation by the CEO, I'll start with that, was quite, I'll say clear. I think she could have done, given more information in terms of the financials, but I also believe that she didn't have enough time So feedback is, it's always good at the end of your presentation to state exactly what you're recommending, and you never did that. So I had to ask you at the end. It was on the second time that you actually told us what you were. You're the CEO. So what's your role? We have a problem. You're presenting, you gave us 3 options, but you should at the end say that this is what you as our manager, our driver, the managing director, you're the CEO. This is what you will recommend. And I had to more or less force you to tell us what you were recommending. It would have been easier if we knew from the beginning. Maybe we would have informed other directors. So you just told us to go on on an expedition. So at times it's sort of easier when you direct us, and then we know what's your mind and where you're going, and we will be able to now see if we align with you. And that have been easier when people were making comments to say that I do not agree with the CEO for the following reasons. I think option this, but we didn't know where you were going. I had a problem knowing where you were going until when you made your second presentation. I don't know if you agree with me.
I agree with you, Ma. And I agree that there should have been more information. Unfortunately, from the case, they actually didn't give us much information on the companies themselves. They gave us much more information on the macro economy than on the company performance. So that was one of the challenges that I had. And unfortunately,
that's why I see you.
We did not meet.
I think the point is not about the presentation, it's more about your recommendation. I think that's really what I'm saying. But you had the recommendation.
I understand, but
you never told us.
I understand. And because of time, the executive committee actually also could not meet to agree on a position.
But you had a position eventually, which you told us eventually. That's what I'm saying.
I agree, Ma.
Because I gave you enough time, you presented, nobody stopped you. And you finished your presentation, you didn't tell us what you were recommending to the board. Thank you very much.
I agree that was a lapse.
I personally think that you did a good presentation. I'm just saying that next time when you present, always know, because at the end of the day, you should have, there's a resolution you're bringing to the board. You had a quarter 1 board meeting. We adjourned to today. So at the end of that, should have been a prayer from you. There was never a prayer. Thank you. The next is Bimpe. Let me see. When you spoke, I thought your thought process was very good. By the end of the day, you told us everything. What exactly did you want? And what was your recommendation? You just said she should go. We have a problem. This is our company. Shareholders' funds are eroding. We want to make money. You told them to go again and come back. So you needed to have told us that this is what you think you want, be specific, and this is where we're going. So there were suggestions, but what I wanted to hear from everyone was, okay, based on what you've said, I do not agree. You want us to close Ghana, or you want us to continue? And if you want us to, why? I didn't hear you say that. I just heard you criticize. And I think the same goes for Chineye. Chineye spoke well. She was not, you basically came from another perspective different from others. I like the idea where you were talking about we should go back to the drawing board. Why was the company incorporated? What was our vision? What was our mission? And then you asked the pertinent question, which is that, do we really want to be in Ghana? Was it Pan-African or was it a Nigerian company? So, but you just asked us all these questions, but you know the answer, you're a director. So why are you asking us all that question at the end of the day? You just came and do grammar, but at the end of the day, we have a problem. The company is dying. We're not here to be talking English. We're here to, when you're a director, you wear the head of a businessman. You're a business director. You're there to direct and to ensure that the company is being run efficiently. Remember your role as a director. So when you make all these comments, come back to reality. We have to be practical and then deal with it in terms of, this is what I think at the end of the day we need to do. If you think that is not working, and then there's an issue, there are other questions. We're talking about beverages. Is it non-alcoholic? Is it alcoholic? All those things were not clear from the scenario. So we're talking about competition, which is where quite a few people, Adenike, Eniola, you all really spoke well. The only person I didn't really understand what you were trying to achieve was, you've changed your name now to Samsung. What's your name again?
Okay, yeah. This was me, your daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I had to change my device and ensure that
no
at least I come on camera.
Just that your
and all
name
that.
wasn't showing anymore. Yes.
Yeah.
You spoke well, but I really, at the end of the day, was just trying to understand what is it that you're advising the CEO? Do you understand to do? So when you make all your very good points, always come back to, we have a problem. We're here to sit and decide on, are we closing down? Are we staying in Ghana? Are we bringing in new measures? Are we going to, at the end of the day, do you want another business partner? There were 3 options. And some of you said, I don't even like any of the options. And it's a cost analysis. If the company is not going to, at the end of the day, business decisions about trust. It was clear from the scenario that there was a trust issue. They didn't trust each other. Ghana did not, Nigeria did not. So shouldn't we, as board directors, really talk about it and talk about the fact that if there's a trust issue, do we really want to continue this business relationship? If we've been in existence for 60 years and we're doing well, we've moved here and now you signed on a partnership agreement, it's still not doing well. So what do we want to do? I don't want to take all the time. My comment is that everybody, and I liked Eniola's comment, I liked Fulayo's comments. Most of you had very good comments, but we had options. So when you finish at the end, what I noticed that most people did not do was I was guessing, some said the option they preferred. Madam Tola came with a Dr. Tola, she spoke about edge and buffer, but that was all grammar, not of economics. What were you trying to tell her? What's she buffering? Do you understand? Break it down. What do you want from her eventually? What do you want the management to do? You can't be just talking in a way that is still not very clear. You must give clear directive to your CEO as to what you expect to get us back. But in a nutshell, I believe that it was a very good experience. I think you all did very well, in my opinion. You all spoke clearly, but I still think that you must understand that you have a duty of care, to your company to ensure that, the company does not fail. I don't want to take too much time. You need to ask me questions.
Thank you for that feedback, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and I really appreciate the feedback. I actually had an option, and my option was going to be option 3, but I wasn't aware that we could actually give our recommendation.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't know whether a lot of people felt that way. I just kind of felt like, okay, fine, maybe we needed the data and that maybe the CEO would then come to some sort of conclusion. But as you rightly said, maybe the CEO should have given us her option, and that would have informed the conversation. So thank you very much for the feedback.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Chinye.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. It's actually Chienye. Takes a while. Chienye, yes. Thank you very much for the feedback. And it's good to know you're the director and you're supposed to really direct and tell the company where they're going. I know that there are a lot of gaps in terms of the information in the case study. And I think perhaps maybe the expectation was that the CEO would also sort of fabricate numbers to make it a little bit more realistic in terms of what was being presented to us. I take the feedback and accept it. My question to you is, in a real scenario where this is an actual board meeting and the CEO has given you something where you really do not have the information to make that informed decision. You know what I mean? You can't really say go this way because you haven't got that information.
Exactly.
So what then do you do? I mean, if we're role playing here, I could easily say, based off of this and this and things that I've manufactured, that I think that you should go this way. In a real situation where the CEO hasn't given us something to say, okay, you see, exactly. What do you then say? How do you
You
direct
ask,
in that?
you request for more information. You definitely do. You can't make a decision, we can't. So at times you might have to adjourn, you might request for the information, ask if it's a decision that can be made round robin, which is that you can all by email cast your vote, and if there's a need, that's why we always also have committees, so it might be sent to the relevant committee to look at it and make a recommendation to the board. But definitely there's no way the board would have been able for me to have made a decision at this meeting. And most of the time, chairman would probably have the finance and strategy, depending on what it is. If it's an audit and risk, they would go back and look at it, do an analysis, and come back to make a decision to the board. And that's what would have happened in real life. There's no way we would have been able to decide. So I think you're right on that. Yes, CEO.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You can take that one meeting.
Thank you very much.
I can't use it. I'm in the meeting.
Who is disturbing this meeting, please?
Somebody needs to mute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, CEO, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I really thank you for your observations, and I really take more. Directors are meant to direct, actually direct and even maybe be more decisive in our comments. My question is maybe in the pre-board meeting preparations. So before yesterday evening, actually, I sent my petition to the company secretary, and I expected that other committees would have sent their own petitions to the company secretary, and maybe they would have been sent to board members ahead of today's meeting.
Totally
But
correct.
that was not done. Okay, so I know this is a simulation and we all have other things that we're doing, and nobody is paid to do this, and that's why enough figures from there. But that's what expected, have happened. Polls as well, but I just want to clarify that in a real board situation, that's actually what should have happened. Thank you.
In real life, the committees would have, well, first of all, they'd have had their committee meetings, and also been set. Notice is sent out with the agenda. Normally, the board pack is also sent. So all presentations by the CEO, management, all the reports would have been circulated to board members, ideally 14 days before. But there are times where it's late, but it's still at least enough time for the board members to have read. You're expected to read and come and make comments. It's not at the meeting you have to read. So you're totally correct, CEO, that board members should have been privy to this. But also you sent it to the company secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Fulayo.
Thank you, Ma. So it's interesting because I sat as a management team as well as on the board. So my question to you is, can one wear two hats in that situation, wherein as a member of EXCO, you have a view that EXCO has sort of, in this situation, we had three options. And from a company workable consideration, there's a simpler option. However, from the board and infusion of shareholders' funds, there might be another option. In that kind of situation where there seems to be a conflict, how do you then derive your decision?
I think, first of all, so management would always have a view. So you have the beauty about your role is that you're members of the board, and being informed also that you also have duty to ensure you do not information from your when it's presented, you have a right to speak and to air your views. Other members too will, and at the end of the day, we all know that at board meetings, majority do carry the votes. It's very rare that they're dissenting or I personally, it's always for members of board to be unanimous in their decision, but where there's a need to cast a vote, the members do, and everybody has one. So I think what the question you're asking is that can you, yes, maybe if you're a CFO, you have a right, you will be at the meeting, but there's nothing wrong in, there's no conflict in that. You prepared your report and you have a view and you can express your view, there's no conflict. It's just of more of you being open and disclosing what your views are.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, first, thank you so much, Ma. It has been very, very well, and we really I look up actually, so thanks for opportunity. What scenario? Even I have my own position totally at variance with hers as well, and the figures, some of the figures out. I just had to quickly, try and arrange. It asked me to do that last presentation, but I probably wouldn't have had them. So thankfully, we didn't go there. My presentation was basically, I had a PowerPoint presentation, but my company secretary was like, we might not need to do a presentation, for everybody to see, although I had a PowerPoint as well. So I think next we'll probably be better prepared, just to let you know that next time we'll probably be better prepared, have more scenario, play outs as well. And of course, we didn't know we could also put up figures like, fictitious figures just to further buttress our points as well. So probably next time we would have all this information to be able to do a better presentation, and therefore there to be a synergy between the CEO, the finance, strategy, and marketing together. So we're all speaking with one voice, especially as board members. Because another question I have is, sometimes, at these board meetings, you're trying to, manage all the sentiments, and you don't want to be seen to be outrightly at variance with your CEO's position. How do you manage all of this respectfully? You have a totally different opinion, or you have a totally different pathway, for example, out of these 3 pathways. I wanted to go with 1, she wants to go with 3. How do we manage some of these board sentiments when it comes to real life scenarios? Thank you, ma'am.
I think first question is as management or as a member of the board?
As board members or management, both, I guess.
I think first thing is that when at a board meeting, you should understand that your duty, there's no sentiment in your views. It's about being diplomatic about how you even at variance. It's always good to express your view clearly, but not in a confrontational manner. So just after the CEO has presented, if you think about all that, it's just that, have you considered, instead of saying, I do not agree, the way it's your tone. And so in a subtle way, I think the board should also look into this other option. I don't know if the management has actually considered that. Maybe we might, or may I suggest that the CEO also makes a presentation, looking at this other scenario which has not been presented. 3 options have been here. And that way, you're giving that CEO, you've said the same thing, but you haven't made her feel like she's stupid. What you've just done is to just tell her that I think that there might be a need for the board as a whole to also look at this other option you think might be a viable option or a more viable option than what has been presented. So may I ask that we stand down this line item on the agenda, and the presentation is brought forward for us to look at the next meeting. You've done it, you've done a good job, you've made them, but you've not made your CEO look like she's foolish. So I think it's about how you present yourself and your opinion that matter, but you don't need to definitely be cowed into not expressing your view at a board meeting, even if it's at variance with the CEOs. But always make sure that you're mature in your delivery. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, NEC Company Secretary, may I have you?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chairman, and thank you, my fellow board members. I want to say that I'm very grateful for the contribution, and thank you, Madam Chairman, because we've learned a lot about that I've had experience in a board of directors meeting. I think this is my first time just having an experience on it. And the company secretary trying to get everything, it's an awesome experience for me because they are all tactical things that we need to write down on. I want to not like a vote of thanks, but just for me to say that the Madam CEO, I thank you for the presentation. When she sent it to me yesterday, I didn't know the guidelines concerning WIMBIS. And when I called earlier on, there was no response. That's why I didn't share it. And Adenike also called me some minutes to the meeting about the sharing of the slide. We actually thought it was going to be a 5-minute or 4-minute presentation, but unfortunately we didn't know the guideline. But today we've had a successful meeting. And as a company secretary, Madam Chair, I want to ask, I know from what I've read a little about company secretary, they know more about the company, and they're like working in the company, not just coming in to make decisions. Is it that during board meetings, the company secretary don't talk, or just keeping minutes of meetings, or what? Because, and I also thought that the company, not that, I think Chi corrected me that the company secretary must not be a lawyer, because trying to give position, I was asking for a lawyer, and she said it must not be a lawyer. So as the company secretary being equipped, because some of the things we are discussing here help back up from the company before talking. And the company secretary have any team.
Thank you very much. Very good question. First of all, a company secretary can be a lawyer. I think that's the first point. I do company secretarial work, and I'm a lawyer. Now, the role, but you're not there as a lawyer. The role of the company secretary are as follows. One, you are the one that's basically the repository of all the documents relating to the board meeting. So your role is to send out the notice. You work closely, more than anything, with the chairman. Before notices are sent out, management will give you the agenda based on the last minutes and line items. You confirm from management reports. You share your notice with the chairman for approval. Is circulated. At the team, your role is to take minutes and ensure that there's compliance with the articles, which tells you the quorum. Do you all know what quorum means? Before you can have a meeting, there's a minimum number of directors that must be present. So if it's a 6-man board, as an example, you might say that minimum is 3. It might be 6, 2. If it's 3, if there are 2 members, you can't hold the meeting. So those are the role. The role is to ensure compliance with your memorandum and articles, filings and done, and all those other issues. But the most important thing is to take the minutes accurately of what transpires. You are not a member of the board to speak. You don't say a word. You're there except they want confirmation. And there's a dispute as to what you wrote. If it's embarrassed, what a director said, oh, that's not what I said. It's your role to confirm that this is what I heard. That's why your role is very important. Your role is to take the minutes, take it precisely, and you do not try to change what has been said, because it's a very, very fiduciary role that you're holding, but you're not to cast a vote and to give your comments. You're not a member of the board as a director. You are there as a secretary. You can be a lawyer, you can be, but you don't need to be a lawyer. There's ICSAN, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries, and you can. So the accountants can be company secretaries, and you don't need to be in-house. It could be external. So company have legal advisor and company secretary full-time, and some prefer to have external, like I do, because they just like the fact that, if you're full-time, you resign, they bring in another person. So for continuity, some people just prefer to just outsource, but some prefer to have it in-house. But there's no law that says that it must be a lawyer. legal issues are there. That's why if you're not a lawyer, you go to exam. We as lawyers do it because we just believe that, we have a bit of, but there's no law that says you should be a lawyer. I think that clarifies. Chin, thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, you actually just said what I had wanted to say, because Nemesis and I did have a conversation and wanted to clarify where I was saying that since we're role playing, I don't think that there's a necessity of whoever is role playing today to be a lawyer. I happen to be a lawyer. And yes, I have a bias for company secretary being a lawyer, but I did also tell her that in reality, in our own laws, just as you said, you can have a lawyer, you can have an accountant, you can have somebody who's part of ICSAN and all of that. But the conversation was around today saying that
yes,
I don't think
for knowledge.
Deal with issues. Yes.
Thank you. I have less than 3 minutes. So any other questions? Is there anything you want to say that I think? Just to be sure that there's no hands up. So how have you found my comments? I've said it. I'll just quickly go through my notes to see if I've left out anything. So Chinyanya, you were welcome, but I said why was set up was then Wokocha confident. You looked at the review of the agreements. I just want to see if there's anything I left out that I should have told anyone. I think basically we've gone. Yeah, Bimpe, I said you shouldn't rush when you're speaking. So let's take our points one at a time and watch when we're doing. Eniola, you spoke well. The comparative analysis was okay. You spoke about the long-term plan, and that for me, I thought that was good to bring out. Your ideas, spoke about the policy, companies in existence. So I was wondering, why are we saying some of the things you said? And then the issue about the edge. I think all in all, I want to say that you guys very well. In reality, it's a role play. You would have had more information. You would have had the financial. And it's a company that's not just started, it's been in existence for a while. What is important is just note that in every board meeting, there's an agenda and there's a notice. And your role is just to as it is. So if you have issues or items you want to add and you think has been left out, if not, ask. If you think that there's that maybe was left out and you want to wait until any other business, and just tell Madam Chair, or when they're going through that agenda, so that I have an item always at the beginning, and you like it to be brought up under AOB. Ladies, that is the end of today's vote. It's been a bit helpful, and I hope I've been able to impact some of my experience to you all. And I wish you all the best in pursuit of board positions.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.